This is currently Corsair's cheapest gaming keyboard on the market, the Corsair K55 Core RGB. It's a great option for your first gaming keyboard, but being a membrane keyboard, is it actually worth getting, seeing as there's so many other full mechanical keyboards available these days at the same price point, even cheaper, and some with even more features? Well, let's find out. Alright, so starting off with pricing, the Corsair K55 Core RGB here costs around $40 on Amazon or around 850 Rand for here in South Africa. Now, compared to some of the other K55 models, because there's quite a few of them, the K55 Core here is the more streamlined version, which is more focused on essential features instead of making it all fancy, which does keep the price down quite a bit. But again, you do have a few other K55 models like the Pro XT at $80, which does offer per key RGB backlighting instead of zones and improved customization, but at a steep price of again $80, which is quite a bit pricey for a membrane keyboard. At that price point, you can get a bunch of other full mechanical, full RGB, some even wireless gaming keyboards, and also good quality. So $80 is a bit steep for that one. Just a quick reminder to go check out some of my other channels as well. So currently this channel here is for all of the gaming related gear, such as peripherals like we have here, monitors, and also setup ideas, later on setup builds as well. But I do also have hardware overload, which is for all of the PC component related videos, PC builds, benchmarks, and all of that. And then also I do have unbox overload for all of the unboxing and first impressions of products before I actually do the full reviews on this channel, and then also hardware overload. So I did actually unbox this keyboard first, and even some of the other Corsair keyboards, so definitely check those out in the link in the description below. But now getting into build quality, the K55 Core is a full-size gaming keyboard with a black plastic build. The build quality is decent for the price with very little body flex, but it does have a slight squeaking when applying a lot of pressure. The body is also spill-proof, which is a nice little feature to add for all of those who are prone to spill their coffee or cool drink or whatever over the keyboard. Lucky this one will survive those gaming sessions and the mishaps. Now underneath you do get decent rubber pads for grip, and also your two flip-out keyboard feet with rubber pads on them as well for additional stability. The USB cable is 1.8 meters long, it is not detachable, and also is coated with a tangle-free rubber coating. Now moving on to the keycaps, these are ABS plastic keycaps with no texture on them. Some people like a bit of a texture, some do not. Usually the texture ones do last a bit longer and doesn't smudge as much, but the keycaps do allow the RGB to shine through nice and clearly, especially with the fonts as well. The keyboard does also feature dedicated media buttons for play, pause, volume control, a Windows lock button, and then also your 5 levels of brightness for the RGB. But now moving on towards the switches, like I mentioned in the beginning, the K55 Core here uses a membrane switches, which is slightly bit outdated these days, but some people like them, some people don't, a lot of people don't, but they are different from mechanical switches like the browns, which I would mostly compare against the membrane switches here. Alright, so with the switches out of the way, let's quickly just go over the RGB. It's not that important, but we do like our little RGB lighting going on. So for the K55 Core here, you do have 10 RGB backlit zones. So for a lot of other budget membrane keyboards, they usually only have like a 7-zone RGB backlit, so only 7 zones splitting up the backlight, whereas the K55 Core here does have 10. So it does allow the RGB waves and effects to shine through a lot smoother, where you can't really see them stuttering between the different zones. So just some of the effects you get, you have your rainbow wave, your color shift, you have a watercolor effect, and just a bunch of other things you can actually play around with. Now again, you don't have per key RGB backlight, but you do have a bunch of other effects and also static effects that you can apply. You can either do that on the keyboard itself, or for the base experience, you'll have to go download the IQ software, and that also allows you to sync your RGB lighting with all of your other Corsair products. Alright, so now let's compare the K55 Core to some of the other mechanical RGB options that I just personally have on hand. Of course, choosing a gaming keyboard is just up to your personal preference. You'll have to actually go and test it out to actually see what you like. Some people like low profile gaming keyboards or just low profiles. Some like heavy mechanical switches. Some like loud blue switches, some like brown switches, some like whatever linear switches compared to tactile switches. So there's so many different options. I haven't heard anybody really like membrane switches above mechanical switches, but I'm sure there are people who actually do. But I would first ask why. But I won't shame you for that, so no shaming here. Alright, so let's quickly just go over some of the options that I currently have, which is around the $50-ish price range, and some of the other options that I don't even have on hand, which is even cheaper than this one, which is mechanical, wireless, and RGB. Now, those ones are not full size, they're just like the 60% way smaller. Some people like them, some people don't. I don't usually prefer the 60% because I do like my numpad. I just want more switches, more keys, but you do have that as an option. So $40 for a membrane RGB keyboard, I don't see how it's actually like worth going for. So for example, here I have the ranked Nova, which I reviewed on my old channel a while back. Now again, this is a smaller keyboard, but with this one you actually do get pre-lubed switches. Now these are brown mechanical switches, but they are also pre-lubed. Like, you think they're the Gateron Pro browns. So they're soft. They do feel very nice. Let's see. This one is also brown. So this is the Keymove DK60 Now this one is not pre-lubed switches. So you guys can hear the difference between them. Now, that's really loud, where the pre-lubed ones is a lot smoother. But this is, again, I think around $50 or even sub 50 these days. So there's just a lot of other full mechanical options. So for example as well, I have the Royal Kludge RK100 here. Now this is really loud. It's blue switches, blue mechanical switches, and I just think it's, yeah, Gaterons. So I think this one is a bit more expensive, around like $60 or something, but you do have other versions of this. But this one, again, is full mechanical, full RGB, full size, and there's also Bluetooth and the 2.4 GHz wireless. So for a slightly bit more than this one, you get all of that. And I do like the look as well. But going back a couple of years now, probably like 6 to 8 years, this was the first cheapest mechanical keyboard that I was actually able to test at exactly the same price point as this one. So 8 years ago, this was 850 Rand, whereas this one is also around that price point. I can't exactly remember what it was in dollars, but it was also probably around $50 or so. And that was way back then. Now, this is the Raider Dragon Vara. Yeah. So again, this is also now using blue switches, so it's very loud. It depends on if you like that, if you don't. But this is full mechanical. It's proper build quality. It feels solid. Now again, the K55 build quality is fine, but it's not on the same level as even this. And also, I believe this one was also spill proof, same as this one, but this one is only a single color backlit, only red, but later versions was full RGB. So I just want to compare these to actually show you guys the differences between all of the different options that you currently get. Again, you do have versions similar to this that is RGB, wireless, full mechanical, and also have like a different design, not just like black. So you do have so many options these days, which does make it very hard, very, very hard. Even how much I love Corsair, it's so hard to actually recommend the K55 Core here at that $40. The only way I can actually recommend this keyboard is because it does come in some bundles. So if I remember correctly, the previous versions, you got the K55 with the Harpoon mouse and also the H35 headset and like a mouse pad as well. So you got a combo of a mouse, keyboard, headset and mouse pad at not a bad price as well. That is honestly the only way I can actually recommend you going for the keyboard. But at the price point of $40, which again isn't that much, the competition these days are just so wide and there's so many different options that, yeah, it's just hard, even though I do like the keyboard. But now that's pretty much it for my look at the Corsair K55 Core here. Again, not a bad keyboard. You get everything that you would really need, except if you want to go for mechanical instead of membrane. But anyway, if you can get this one on like a special for, let's say, around $30, I think that could actually be very nice. And again, the bundle that you can get with this one, that could be an option. But currently, there's just so many different options, so I can't fully say go buy this one above go buy the K55 Core above anything else. But even though I can't recommend this one for future videos, I'm also going to take a look at the Corsair K70 Pro TKL and then also the K70 Core TKL as well. So there is other options that you can go for, but at also higher price points. So yeah, if you want to see the unboxings for these, they will be on the Unbox Overloaded channel, and also I will do the full review for these ones coming very soon. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts on the K55 Core, if you use a membrane switch above a mechanical switch, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. But yeah, that's pretty much it. A big shout out to Corsair for sending a keyboard over for this review as well, even though I can't fully recommend it, but I do still appreciate everything that they do, but also thanks for the other keyboards that we're also going to take a look at. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.